I'm Ilya Marchenko.
I'm Dennis Kudla.
I'm Jesper de Jong.
I'm Henry Laakson.
I am Francisco Cerundolo,
and you are listening to the Game to Love podcast.
Hey, welcome back, tennis fans. It's quarterfinal time at the US Open. A very exciting US Open with a few different names showing up in the quarterfinals. We obviously lost Rafael Nadal out of the draw last night. Tiafoe taking his place, and he will face Andrei Rublev in this quarterfinal. But we're going to be starting off, I think, with Berrettini, because it will be the first match going on today. And that's an exciting one because Casper Ruud, chance to get to a first hard court semi-final.
And also world number one. He's got still the possibility of being world number one, which is ridiculous. But let's get into this one. This is the men's one. We'll be doing a women's one straight after, sort of 20 minutes on both. And we should probably start with, I know you said Berrettini, but let's just wind back a sec because Rafael Nadal went out yesterday.
Yeah.
And the repercussions of Rafael Nadal going out means none of these four, none of the GOATs who we love are not going to be in the draw. So we're not going to see him in the quarterfinals for, well, let's have a look here. So it's an end of an era, the first slam since 2003 without any of the big three or Serena in the quarterfinals. So it seemed like this is an end of, well, the end of the year, an end of an era.
Yeah.
Federer obviously never entered. Djokovic never entered. Serena had a great memorable event, was close to doing something special. Rafa was close yet again to get into the quarterfinals, but wasn't able to. And I think we need to pause a second just to take this moment in because these four now, we're not going to stop with. I don't think we're going to see them in the back end of slams as much as we are used to.
Yeah, and we're never going to see them all together in a slam again. And that's the sad reality. Unless Serena makes some massive U-turn on her decision and Federer suddenly starts coming back and playing like he was a 20-year-old again, I don't think it's going to happen. And obviously Rafa having a child now. Djokovic, will he be allowed into any Grand Slams anytime soon?
I mean, it's been a good run. They've not had a bad run. Meadow, they're saying nearly 2 decades of dominance.
Yeah,
for these. Incredible. It's been insane, and it is coming to the end. We've got here beyond the big three because the US Open specifically has been had the changing of the guard a little bit sooner than the rest because we've had some new champions in recent years. You can see here Dominic Thiem in 2020, Medvedev 2021. Who's going to be filling this spot in 2022? It is going to be a new slam champion, guaranteed. Cilic went out to Alcaraz yesterday. So whatever happens, it is going to be a new face in this spot here.
It's interesting, isn't it, that the last three slam champions will have all been their first time Grand Slam champion. And obviously Dominic Thiem defeating Zverev. Zverev would have been one as well. And Djokovic obviously lost to Medvedev last year. And now, well, who will it be? Well, we're going to give our predictions on who we think is going to go through these quarterfinals. And I'm sure we're probably going to be pushing close to the final and giving some takes on who is now the favourite. I know that you have got your favourite, but
yeah, for sure. Well, let's get into it. So these are the quarterfinals. So they have been set for the US Open. We've got Nick Kyrgios versus Karen Khachanov, Berrettini versus Casper Ruud. So that makes up the top half. On the bottom half, Yannick Sinner, Carlos Alcaraz, and Andrei Rublev, Francis Tiafoe. I mean, out of all of these matchups, the one what shocks me the most, of course, is Andrei Rublev, Tiafoe. Yeah. I don't think many people would have had them two meeting each other in a quarterfinal. That's insane. Of course, Karen Khachanov as well as another one you wouldn't have expected to have got this far. But I guess the others you'd make a case for. I think a lot of people had the Sinner Alcaraz one. I know I did. Berrettini, I had him also going that far. I think with Casper Ruud as well. So them ones make sense. The top two, not so much.
Yeah, I mean, Andrei Rublev, this is his best opportunity now to get to his first ever Grand Slam semi-final. Can he do it? He's been to the quarterfinal, is it 5 times before, different slams? Wimbledon, the only one he hasn't got to the quarterfinal of. Can he do it? I mean, I think he'll be quietly confident in his own ability. Just defeated Cam Norrie in convincing fashion. And that's not an easy thing to do. We were bigging up Cam Norrie, saying we thought he was the favourite going into that. And Rublev completely blew that out of the water, didn't he? So, interesting.
Exactly. So let's start with Berrettini, Casper Ruud, because I know that's the first one up.
Yeah.
And that is going to be taking place in about 3-4 hours' time.
Yep.
And where do you want to begin with it?
Well, let's start off with their head-to-head, I think, because it's interesting. They barely play each other on hard court. They've only played each other on hard court once before, and that was at the US Open. And that was in 2020, and Berrettini beat him in straight sets, 6-4, 6-4, 6-2. So, and all the other occasions have been on clay. And we've had Ruud won their last meeting in Gstaad. Berrettini won the meeting before that in Madrid. And then we had, so it seems like the slower surfaces, Ruud wins. The faster surfaces, Berrettini wins. So French Open, Ruud. Rome, Ruud. Gstaad, Ruud. Madrid and US Open. So it looks like the hard court surfaces or the fast surfaces, Berrettini looks to be the favourite. And he's not dropped a set when he does beat Ruud. That should be noted as well.
Interesting. I think based off all of that, you'd have to say Berrettini has a good chance, despite Casper Ruud being the bookies' favourite.
That's nuts.
I thought that was quite interesting. I think you get good value. I think it's
Put some
dropped
money
actually
down
to 1.9 each now, but a lot of the bookmakers in the UK taking Ruud as the favourite. I don't know if they're just getting taken by the seed, by the fact that he's a 5th seed and Berrettini is a 13th. But listen, I think it's going to be really interesting. So the 26-year-old Berrettini heads into this clash with a 3-2 record in quarterfinal matches at slam level. Both them losses came to Novak Djokovic. So he's never lost a quarterfinal at a slam to anyone apart from Novak Djokovic.
Oh, that's mad, isn't
and
it?
in fact, all of his 3 losses in slams last year were against Djokovic, and his only loss in 2022 was against the eventual champion Rafael Nadal at the Australian Open. So that's something people don't factor into Berrettini. In slams, he's the go-to guy apart from the big 3. He's consistently better than Zverev, Tsitsipas, and even Daniel Medvedev.
Yeah. Don't forget he's been to the semi-finals here once before, and he was only defeated by Rafa, obviously. And there's no Rafa left in the draw now.
The big 3 seem to have him, but the others struggle against the Berrettini. And this is why, I don't. Are we doing predictions as we go?
We can if you want to. Yeah,
I think we should get into the prediction for it, because I think Berrettini wins this one quite comfortably. And I'm going to go for a 3-1 victory. So Berrettini in 4.
I might surprise you. I'm going to be going Berrettini in straight sets. He's never dropped a set on hard court or fast surfaces to Casper Ruud. I think it continues. I think it's the serve. It's that good. And even though he's been to 5 sets with Davidovich Fokina, I just feel that he's got Ruud's number on these fast courts. I don't know. There's something about Berrettini that this is opening up for him, this tournament. This is his moment, really. If he wants to take it, there's no big 3. Now's your time. So step up.
Casper Ruud may be a little bit nervous, the fact that he can be world number 1 if he is to win this US Open.
Nuts, that.
And looking at it as well, Casper Ruud probably thinks, you know what, I can beat a lot of these players. Casper Ruud, in theory, has a good chance against a lot of them. The maddest thing out of all of this is the highest seeded player left in is Carlos Alcaraz.
Yeah.
Who would have thought Carlos Alcaraz, a few years, he's going to be the highest seed left in the quarterfinals of a Grand Slam.
It's incredible. I mean, what a year that this kid's having. And he could end the year as world number 1. I mean, I don't think anybody in their predictions at the end of last year would have, in their wildest dreams, would have had Carlos Alcaraz leading the way on the ATP tour. I mean, what a rise to fame. Fair play.
Let's move on to that one. So we did our predictions. We've both gone Berrettini. I've gone in 4. You've gone in 3.
Yep.
Moving down to the young guns, the one I think is arguably one of the most exciting on paper. That's Yannick Sinner, Carlos Alcaraz.
It's
I
amazing.
mean, I watched some highlights this morning when I woke up of Alcaraz Cilic. There was one passage of play where he returned Cilic's serve deep, and then I think Cilic hit another massive shot, and he got that one again, and then another one, and then another one. Alcaraz, his defensive play is outstanding. He can switch a defense to attack so quickly, and then he ended it with a volley at the net where it looked like his arm socket was going to come off. When you talk about mobility and movement on the court, something Rafael Nadal really struggled with yesterday, Carlos has that in abundance. I mean, the way he moves is very similar to Rafa, a young Rafa.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what it is. He's a young guy on tour who can move extremely well. Sid is going to have a really tough match on his hands. Alcaraz will be favourite. However, I know you've got the head-to-head there, so you can maybe go through it. Sinner, I believe, has a better head-to-head against Alcaraz. And most recently at Wimbledon, we was there watching it. Sinner was able to beat him on that day.
Indeed. I mean, do we count the Challenger in the head-to-head? They played in a Challenger first, when Alcaraz beat him on clay in Spain. But since they played in the ATP main draw, they played once on each surface, which is really interesting. In Paris, they played. Alcaraz defeated him on the indoor hard courts 2-0. Then they played at Wimbledon. That was this year. And we know what happened. Yannick Sinner was incredible, served impeccably. Alcaraz didn't have an answer. He lost 3-1. And then since then, they played in Umag on the clay. And then Sinner took that form onto the clay as well and defeated him there. So he's won the last 2 meetings, Yannick Sinner, against Alcaraz, and might have the mental edge going into this matchup.
He seems to have his number. It is a really tough matchup for Alcaraz, but one we're going to have to cover on the channel. Hopefully it's not the latest match on, like the 1:30, because that will be disappointing.
Yeah.
But if I have to give my take on it, I think I'm going to be going for a Carlos Alcaraz victory. I think he's going to get some revenge on Sinner, and I think he's going to win in 4 sets.
Wow. Well, both of these players somehow got through their last match, both in 5 sets as well. I was really shocked when I looked because I thought, oh my word, Alcaraz has gone to 5 with Cilic. I didn't realize that Sinner had gone to 5 with Ivashka as well. I looked up Ivashka. I've got to give him some credit. What a great tournament that he had. So he didn't get really much press or anything. I think a fantastic performance from Ivashka. He can be proud of himself.
Yeah.
For me, this one, they've only played once on the hard court before, and Alcaraz was the victor there. I know it was indoor. And despite Yannick Sinner doing well at this tournament, I think both of them playing 5 sets. I've got a feeling there's
interesting.
Something...
They both went 5 sets. I'm surprised Ivashka and Cilic did that to him, but credit to them both.
There's something about the heart desire of Carlos Alcaraz and the fact that he was last year, he was at the quarterfinal stage as well on his first ever attempt. So I feel that he's just going to be growing. I feel that now he will have the belief in himself that he can go now to the semi-finals. I think Carlos Alcaraz will do it, but I think it's going to be in 5 sets again. I know. I feel those two, that is one of the best matchups we're going to see so many times. Yeah. But yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, it's the tie of the quarterfinals. Definitely really looking forward to it. We've both gone Alcaraz. So far, we've got 2 out of 2, the same players, Berrettini and Alcaraz. Let's go to the bottom before we do Nick Kyrgios.
Yeah.
And Andre Rublev, Francis Tiafoe. I think we've got to start with Tiafoe. The 22 seed, knocked out the number 2 seed. He had all the 2s in that one.
Yeah.
And Rafael Nadal struggled against a man who played phenomenal tennis. And you've got to be asking questions here. If Francis Tiafoe repeats the performance he did against Rafa yesterday, can he not win the whole thing?
You'd think he could beat anody playing like that.
Because I think he beats Rublev playing like that. I think he can beat an Alcaraz or Sinner playing like that. He was serving 137 mile an hour aces. As great as Alcaraz and Sinner are at returning, I don't think they can get them back. And the power he was hitting from the baseline, his movement, the volleys, he just had a perfect match. My fear with Tiafoe is we've seen him do this before where he has good matches and it follows up with something which is very average. Against Tsitsipas, he knocked him out at Wimbledon a few years back. And then the next round, I think he just I think maybe he got through the next one, but then
Yeah.
after that he struggled, and he can have the highest of performances followed by a very mediocre one. And I'm worried that that's going to be the case against Rublev, and he just loses in straight sets.
Well, it's going to be a real tough one. Andre Rublev, he looks like he's got the bit between his teeth. And one of the main things I think that Rublev will be liking in this tournament is he doesn't have to play another Russian until at least the final. So he's going to be happy. No Russians on the way. Not going to have to play Medvedev. He's gone. And if anything, if he had to play Khachanov, he probably would fancy his chances against him. But Andre Rublev, Tiafoe, if Tiafoe turns up again, oh, it's going to be incredible. He's reached the 4th round the last 2 years. Now he's got to the quarterfinals. His best ever result in a slam was quarterfinals in Australia back in 2019, where he defeated Dimitrov in the first round. In the 4th round, sorry, not first round.
Wait, who's that? Sorry?
Francis Tiafoe, but then he went out to Rafa in the quarterfinals in Australia.
Do you know the maddest thing is in that year as well? Let's wind back to 2019 because Tiafoe played Rublev in 2019. And they went to 5 sets, and Tiafoe beat him in a 5th set, 6-1.
That's 2021, that one.
Sorry, last 2021. Apologies.
Yeah.
So last year's US Open, they played each other, and Tiafoe, as the underdog, beat Rublev.
Yes, he did indeed. A massive underdog, like 3-1 underdog. Yeah. He came through 6-1 in the final set as well. Quite convincing. Andre Rublev might be having flashbacks. So that's why I'm going to be going for Francis Tiafoe to do it again. And sorry, Andre Rublev, you're not making your first Grand Slam semi-final. I know that there's going to be some people that are going to be attacking me now in the live chat. Some real big Rublev fans we know we have on GTL. Something about Tiafoe this tournament. He only dropped 1 set, and that was to Rafa. He's been impeccable other than that. And I think he does this in 4.
And have a look at this one. So this is
wow, how young Rublev look there,
and Tiafoe in the 2014 junior quarterfinals at the US Open. So they've played a quarterfinal at the US Open before. It's bad. I don't even have the stat of who won that one. Does anyone know in the live chat? I'm sure someone knows. I thought it'd be on here.
I'll have a quick look.
You can see them embracing. Look how young they were. They have played before. It was also amazing to see. I did see a Tiafoe hitting with Rafael Nadal. I think that was back in, was it 20? I think it was a long time ago. Tiafoe looked like a real young, like a little boy, to be honest. He looked about 15 years old.
Tiafoe
and he was hitting with Rafael Nadal. So Tiafoe won this one as well, did he?
He won at the US Open in 2014. It was 6-1, 5-7, 6-4.
Interesting. So that's another little piece in the puzzle. You've gone for Tiafoe. I'm also going Tiafoe. The bookies have it even. Another one which even. I mean, a lot of these are so close. I think the only one that's not going to be close is Kyrgios Khachanov. Kyrgios will be a big favourite for that. But at the bottom one, I'm going to have Tiafoe winning, and I'm going to have him winning in 5 sets.
Wow. 5-set thriller. That'll be exciting.
What's your one?
4 sets.
4 sets. Okay, so we've still got the same opponents. Let's go to the top because I'm pretty sure we're going to have the same for that as well. Nick Kyrgios, Karen Khachanov. We've not usually got a lot of good things to say about Khachanov, to be honest. But I think we've got to give him some praise for the tournament he's had.
Incredible. I mean, he's somebody that we write off quite often. And I thought he was even going to go out to Draper. I thought Draper was the better player on the day, and he actually got really unlucky by coming off injured. That just puts it into perspective how far Jack Draper might have been able to have gone in this tournament as well. The fact Khachanov is where he is, but he still had to get through Buster, and that is not an easy thing. And he did it in 5 sets, and some of those sets were really convincing as well. He breadsticked him in the 3rd set, which I thought, wow, he must have been serving so well that day to be able to do that to Carreño Buster. I'm sort of lost for words for Khachanov. I didn't expect him to be here at all. No. And he's really surprised me. Well done to him.
Yeah, Nick Kyrgios, someone who hasn't surprised me. I had him come into this round. I had him beating Daniel Medvedev. That's exactly what happened. And he beat him quite comfortably in the end. I mean, he was hitting balls the wrong side of the net, Nick Kyrgios. He was giving points away at critical moments and just had far too much for the Russian. He's beaten a Russian in the last round. Can he do it again? I can't see a way he doesn't. I said to you, if he beats Medvedev, he's going to be favourite for the US Open. I'm sure you agree now that he
Yeah, I
is
mean,
definitely the favourite. I
tough
think
to look
I do have
past.
some stats as well to support it. So we've got the bookies odds here in the UK. So let's have a look at these. Nick Kyrgios currently the favourite 2.5. We've got Alcaraz at 3s, Sinner at 6s, Berrettini at 11s, Ruud at 13, Rublev 15, Tiafoe 17, and Khachanov not given a chance really at 26. I think that's quite fair. But you can see Kyrgios currently the favourite to make the favourite to make the US Open final and to win.
Wow, I mean, pretty big favourite right now. It's quite interesting. The head-to-head, let's go through that quickly. It's 1-1 in the head-to-head between Khachanov and Kyrgios. They played once in Cincinnati, and it was Khachanov winning in 3 sets. And they played once at a Grand Slam at the Australian Open, and it went 5 sets. So, and there were 4 tie breaks in that match. So 10-8 in the final 5th set tie break to Kyrgios. And bear in mind that we're all going to keep saying it's probably a different Kyrgios, which granted it probably was. And Khachanov, this is the furthest he's ever got on a hard court Grand Slam now. The quarterfinals, he's never done it before Australia or the US. He's done it at the French and Wimbledon. So this is a first for him as well. Will he be a deer in the headlights? I think he may be, unfortunately. I think that Kyrgios and the antics may be a bit too much. We know Khachanov can get annoyed on the court as well. I'm not sure he's the right person to be playing this. And Nick Kyrgios could get under his skin easily.
Well, this is what Medvedev had to say about Kyrgios. He said, I've played Novak and Rafa. They are amazing. Tonight, Nick was at the same level, in my opinion, in a different style. So that's the words of Daniel Medvedev, former world number 1 before this event. We've also got a stat here for Khachanov. It's quite interesting.
Okay.
He's currently on a 6-match winning streak against Aussies and hasn't lost such a matchup since last year's ATP Marseille, where he suffered a big upset at the hands of experienced Matthew Ebden. So he's doing well. He's on a 6-match winning streak against Australian players. He likes playing the Aussies, Khachanov. So that's in his favour. But still, I don't really give him much chance. The way Kyrgios is playing is just phenomenal. I mean,
it's another level, isn't it?
So on that basis, I think I'm going to have to go Nick straight sets.
Yeah, and I think one of the telling factors in this match is how's your return game? We were saying that Medvedev has an amazing return game, and look what he got. He got 1 set just. Yep. And I don't think Khachanov's return game is on the same level. His serving is really good, but if his serve's not popping, I don't think that he... I'm going to go Kyrgios in 4. I'm not going in straights. I think Khachanov, based upon that...
I mean, Kyrgios can always give away a set for sure. And Gary makes a good point here saying the Kyrgios that played 2 nights ago wins this tournament. Let's see if that Kyrgios shows up.
Yeah, I think it's 4 because I think based upon their last matchup, there was 4 tie breaks. And they can go either way when you've got like big servers. I'll give Khachanov, just for his great tournament, he can have a set, mate.
Okay. And just to wind back to the other day, do you think, are you going to say on the podcast I was right about Kyrgios being favourite? Because you liked to argue with me at the time. I don't know if you were just winding me up.
I was just winding you up because it was funny.
I was telling you what I was saying has come straight. It happened exactly how I said. I even said the 4 sets.
I could see you getting more annoyed the more I kept saying it. So I kept on probing at the same narrative. But yeah, you were right. Yeah, as soon as Kyrgios knocked Medvedev out, became the hot favourite. I think it was the style that he did it in as well. I don't think if he would have just gone through and there would have been lots of controversy.
You'd have to look at the match to see if he was going to be. But the way it played out, definitely. I mean, it was 6-1, I think, in the last set against Medvedev, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think
6-2.
He battered
it. Certainly a comfortable one, regardless. Just quickly, because I did miss a stat I wanted to talk about, and that's for Jannik Sinner, because he's now the first ATP player born in the 2000s to reach the quarterfinals of every Grand Slam.
Wow.
And 3 of them have happened this year. Australian Open, Wimbledon, US Open, and Roland Garros was in 2020. So, yeah, the 3 best results in the same year. That is outstanding. The first player born in the 2000s. This is a stat he'll always be able to keep with him to reach the quarterfinals in every slam. Consistent across all the surfaces.
Incredible. It's only going to get better, I think, for him. That's going to turn into semi-finals and then eventually into just finals, I think, for
And
Yannick
part of me
Sinner.
wouldn't mind if he won the whole thing. I'd get
Right.
behind a Yannick Sinner US Open victory here.
Yeah, I mean, it would give him like finally finally put him on the map for like. There's too many people who are just like a bit like, oh, well, Sinner's good, but he's not quite ever competed at the Grand Slam level. Now's your time. I mean, for all of those 8 players left in, they've really got to be thinking this is the opportunity of a lifetime. Now you can go in and you can win your first ever Grand Slam. There's only a certain number of players left, and they're all beatable. Like, you have to look at each of those players, and you could think Tiafoe is probably thinking Rublev. He's not Rafa. I could probably beat him. Probably looking at all of these players.
You can make a case for all of them to be able to beat one of the other opponents. It doesn't seem like any of them are that one-sided.
Nope.
I guess Khachanov, if I'm being entirely honest, seems like the odd one out. You could make a case for Tiafoe, but the way he played in the last match, I mean, he could be one of the best. We could be looking at Kyrgios Tiafoe final if they play their best tennis we've seen this event.
Imagine that the serves in that match. It's going to be outrageous. They have to get a new shot clock machine. No, not shot clock, a speed clock.
Well, they have to change the balls a bit sooner. They'll probably get wore down after every 2
games.
But just to go over it, quick recap, because we're going to be doing the women's now. We've gone for Kyrgios here, me and Ben.
Yep.
We've gone for Berrettini here, Alcaraz here, and Tiafoe. So we've got the same semi-final matchups, which would be Alcaraz, Tiafoe, Berrettini versus Kyrgios. Different ways of doing it. I don't think we even agreed on any of the sets, if I'm honest.
No.
But yeah, that's our thoughts. Let us know yours in the comment section below or in the live chat right now. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be doing the women's one very soon. If you haven't already, please give us a like on this video. Subscribe if you're new. This has been GTL's quarterfinal predictions. Make sure to join us for the matches. We're going to be covering all of them from here on out. So yeah, you don't want to go anywhere.
Right. See you in a few minutes for the women's.
Soon.